Time is 6:33. Time is 6:33. I'd like to call this regular Board of Education meeting to order. Item on our agenda for this evening is the roll call for those Board of Education members who are present. Trustee Goodrich, could you form the roll call, please?
Trustee Townsend.
Here.
Trustee Schindler.
Here.
Trustee Fields. Trustee Goodrich, I am here. Vice President Lee. Here. President Hawkins.
I am here. We have 6 Board of Education members present, 1 who is absent. At this time, I'd like to invite members of the public and all those in attendance to stand and join us in reciting of the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That takes us to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion? Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to achievements, awards, and recognition. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. We are really excited today to have our principal, Leslie Davis, here with the ACE High School, and they are going to share their points of pride. Welcome, Principal Davis and the ACE family.
Thank you. Good evening, esteemed and supported board and Dr. Lena Zachary Ross, her cabinet, the community, the parents. We appreciate the opportunity to share some of the amazing things that happen at ACE High School. As Dr. Zachary Ross stated, my name is Leslie Davis, and I have the joy of being the principal of ACE High School. I also have with me 2 of my wonderful staff members who took the time to come out to share this opportunity with me this evening. This is Ms. Lakeisha Vereen. She is our social worker. And Ms. Lauren, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, so we welcome to our Points of Pride. Tonight, we would like to give you a taste of ACE and all the programs and experiences that we provide for our young people. So community engagement, we spend a lot of time focusing on volunteer efforts. We have some new initiatives this year. We have our students that are, we're tracking volunteer hours for them, so that at the end of the school year, we'll give awards to students so they'll know how many hours of community service they perform throughout the school year. In addition to that, we have the Charlotte Tillerson Food Pantry that has served more than 30 families per month since it began in November of 2023. We had our Thanksgiving Appreciation Luncheon, which served more than 150 community members. In addition to that, with the support of Dan Horning and MDen, we were able to provide 100 turkeys and 100 pies for families. And then again at Christmas, we provided more than 50 hams for families in our community. In addition to that, ACE was the home of the Magic of Christmas gifts for all of the Ypsilanti community schools. Our students and staff wrapped gifts and loaded them into cars of the families and staff who came over to pick them up for our families. Our student council collected or created personal care packages and delivered them to Ypsilanti Community Middle School to give to the young ladies at the building for their personal care and hygiene needs. So far, we totaled a little over 100 hours of community engagement for students, and then we still have more initiatives to come. We haven't had the opportunity to travel on our Page Turner's book tour this year, so we plan to visit all the schools so that our students are able to read to the students in the elementary school. So, with a focus on academics, one of the things that we've worked on really hard this year is creating a transition initiative for students that are in our virtual program to return back to in-person learning. We have achieved a great success with that, and because we found that one of the challenges that a lot of young people who've been out of school for an extended period of time faced was the difference in being at home and being on your own schedule and what happens when you come back in person. So to ensure that they're successful, we have a transition program. We offer test outs on Fridays, but we have also included an after school credit recovery program. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have students come in that test out, they're there for tutoring. We have recovered more than 200 classes for students since September. And as a result of that, it says 23 at the time that the presentation was created, but it increases daily. We're up to 26 now. And as far as attendance, we have the lowest absence rate in the district consistently. Ms. Tillerson? Thank you for joining us. This is Ms. Charlotte Tillerson. She is the teacher consultant for our building. The person that the food pantry is named after. So a lot of the great work with the students and their volunteer hours comes through Ms. Tillerson. In addition to the work that we do for students academically, we also make sure that we take time to celebrate our successes. We had an honor assembly. We select a staff member each month and a teacher of the month. So the staff member would be our auxiliary staff, and then the teachers are specifically teachers. Then we also have a student of the week. A lot of the successes that we have, you'll find on our social media accounts. So make sure you like us on Facebook, ACE, Achieving College and Career Education, and then also follow us on Instagram, ACE High School. Talk about some of the opportunities that we provide students for exposure as far as potential career choices. So in an effort to get our students STEM focused, our students visited Eastern Michigan University to participate in some manufacturing learning for the day. So there was a digital DOs and also a digital divas. And then we also have a robotics team who is only in their second year competing. So they did a great job. They had their last two competitions 2 weekends in a row. We're the ACE Underdogs team 9211. So please make sure that we have our own social media account now. So please make sure you check us out. And if you know anyone who's looking to sponsor the team, we don't have any sponsors, so we're accepting sponsors faithfully. The students also participated in a cultural visit for the Detroit Institute of Arts, and they also visited Mexican Town. We have students that participate in CTE. We have someone who comes into our building to run a journalism club. She's a professional journalist. Our students also work with a vendor from the community on podcasting. And then in an effort to prepare them for career focus, Washington Community College staff comes to our building just to work on students' soft skills. So they've done some mock interviews. We've also taken students shopping for professional attire. And then to include something fun, we had a talent show just to showcase the talent of some of our students. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Fardik Diab. She is our culture and climate coach. So she's going to share some information with you about how we build relationships.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Fardik Diab. I'm the culture and climate coach at ACE. Everything that we do at ACE is in circle, and so restorative practices and circle work is important to bring our entire community together and to make sure that we're connecting with one another. We're moving in from like doing that together in the media center to also doing circles in classrooms as well. So teachers are taking time to kind of build relationships with students all the time in their classroom and connecting, and even discussing content through circles. Where we're working really, really hard to embed restorative practices throughout the school, not just when there's conflict, but also to build community and connection between students and staff. We also run a lot of different groups during our advisory time and after school groups as well that focus on socialization. So our Leading Ladies is a young ladies group, our boys group, our GSA. We really, really, really prioritize building strong relationships because we understand that when our students have experienced trauma or are going through things, that it's those relationships that are really, really important to help them understand the importance of finishing that APEX class or just making it to the point of graduation. So we really try hard to build those relationships and maintain those relationships over the years. And Ms. Tillerson is a wonderful example of how when you build relationships and continue those relationships, they extend long past when students have already graduated. Hey, like Rabiel, who graduated last year. We are also working on trying to make sure that those strong relationships extend to our parental engagement as well. And so we're working hard on getting our PTSO off the ground and on including parent meetings much more than just the required parent-teacher conferences, that we're making sure that parents are a big part of the way that students are learning and that we're communicating with parents very well. And Lakeisha does so much work with our parents and trying to make sure that they have the support and the skills that they need. As we all know that parenting teens is not easy. So thank you so much.
So our message to students, you can and you will, and we hold ourselves accountable because we ask ourselves frequently, have we held true to this statement? And then what evidence do we have to prove that that's what we believe and what we believe is enacted in the way we interact with both our children and our families? So these are some of our upcoming events. At the end of this week, we are having, it happened fast. We're having Mental Health Day. So Ms. Lauren has done a really amazing job of bringing some of our community partners into our building to support the mental health of both, or in support of mental wellness for both our students and our staff. Embracing our differences, we're planning to have a senior lock-in, our Pride Prom. We're having a senior breakfast and pinning ceremony. We're taking a trip, thank you, board, to Cedar Point this year. That was one of the things when I arrived that the students said they enjoyed most last year. So I really appreciate you all approving that. Then we have the prom. We'll have a senior picnic. Then we have graduation. And finally, we almost the end of the school year, we're having field day. So any of the events that we're having, we welcome you to visit our building, just to stop by and say hi to the students. It's always great for them to see the people who support us the most in the efforts in providing a quality education for all of our students. So thank you for that. That is the end of our presentation. What questions might you have for us? Yes. Vice President Lee. Good evening.
And the kids are doing wonderful there. I have a question. Okay, say that a student has gotten into trouble. It is not school related. It's out of school, and they're on. Would you let them do their community service at the child food pantry?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's already happening.
Great. But you know that'll help them be in school plus doing their community service right there, and they don't have to go town somewhere on the bus to do community service. So they can do it.
I think in the community, right inside of the community, and the engagement part. So our students supported the efforts of the food pantry from start to finish. So as we cleaned out the room, when the room was painted, when the first truckload of supplies came in, they were stacking things and talking about where it should go in the pantry. So they've been a part of everything from beginning to end. That's just the way that Ms. Tillerson works. So I don't take credit for any of that.
We work.
That's the way that we work. That's the way that we work.
Okay. Joe, I didn't think that service and them boxes is heavy.
But the families are really appreciative of the opportunity to visit our building. And we also have it in a very secure location, so people don't have to walk through our building to get the support that they need. So no one sees them. It's like a private exchange, and it works really well for the families.
Yeah, cause I know I do. Like a tree, that's, oh my God. Yes, so thank.
Thank you for the acknowledgement. Any other questions from anyone?
I actually have not necessarily a question, but I do want to publicly thank the Charlotte Tillotson Pantry in its first week of running. You all were able to assist me with working with a member that was an alumni of ACE, and that work was very impactful. So I do want to publicly say that. Thank you. The other thing is that I do like to point out the fact that we know ACE is alternative education. However, I appreciate the fact that you all still make the experience something that they still can remember as if they were at the regular high school. So I do appreciate that, because that sends a message that regardless if you have a setback, that does not mean that you're frozen in that situation, and that you still can have a positive outcome by being in a different environment. The last thing I want to say is, what is that question? I do have one question. What do you, how do you feel the success of your, how do you make it work with the success of your parent engagement? And what tips you could possibly provide, say district-wide, in regards to increasing that? Because I know you have a very strong parent engagement right
So
now.
one of the things that we focus on is not waiting until we have a problem to reach out to a parent. So our staff sends cards to introduce themselves. They send cards when students are doing a great job at something, postcards. We also make introductory phone calls and send introductory emails. Parents have my phone number, so they're able to either text or call me in the evening. That way they don't have to sit on a problem all weekend. So if something happens and a kid comes home and says, hey, this happened to me at school today, then a parent can automatically say, okay, I'm going to call Mrs. Davis. I don't have to wait until Monday, right? Because sometimes sitting the weekend and all the thoughts that you have about it sometimes escalates the situation. So to ensure that I am available to parents, I provide my personal cell phone number for them. Inviting them into the building and calling and saying, hey, why don't you stop by so that we can just sit and chat, right? Pull the kid in and talk about what's going on in school. And then making sure that parents know we aren't just there to support students, we're also there to support them. So we listen to them. We hear the challenges that they may have. Like my colleagues, they're raising teenagers. It can be potentially challenging. So making sure that we're able to provide resources in the community that support the work that they're doing at home, which upholds the work that we're doing within the school.
Thank you.
One thing about ACE, we always hit the reset button for the kids. We always hit the reset button. We don't leave kids where they at. We've hit that reset button. Okay, but where we gonna go next? We're gonna move on. We never let them stay stuck where they are. And I think that's the most important thing, that we keep hitting the reset button for kids that can be successful.
Thank you.
I think Dr. Zachary Ross talks to us about working agreements. And one of the working agreements that we have is that we don't freeze people in time, right? So because that's the respect that we deserve as adults, we also show that same respect to both our students and our families, right? Because quite often being angry, sometimes parents don't always respond the way that we want them to in a situation. So we give them the opportunity to have a clean slate, and we still welcome them into the building because we know they're a vital part of the work that we do with families.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to the acceptance, of a field trip for fifth grade class. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend moved that the Board of Education approve the overnight camping trip of the Ypsilanti International Elementary School fifth graders to Howell, Michigan on April 15th through the 16th, 2024.
Thank you. A motion was made by trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, motion made by trustee Townsend, supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to our second field trip request. Is there a motion at this time? Thank you. A motion was made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Vice President Lee.
Support. Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. Is there any discussion on this item?
I did have, two questions. I don't know if Chef is here or no. Good evening, how are you?
Great.
Good. So I know this is the second trip, right, to Houston?
This is our second time top 10 in the United States.
Yes, so congratulations. So can you, I saw that we only had 2 students going this time, and I know we had a larger group the last time. Can you briefly just tell us what is the criteria of how a student can qualify to go?
Yes, so we had small teams this year because it was NASA, the Johnson Space Center Food Lab, every year picks a theme, and this year's theme was a breakfast item, a singular breakfast item. So we ended up with 2 teams. So how students qualify for this is right away in September, students can sign up to compete on this team like they can with ACF, Skills USA, and ProStart. They have to write a 250-word essay on food in a microgravity, so they have to do some research for themselves. I partner up with another instructor in the high school. We kind of go over, we pick the teams about how we want that done. And you just through that essay. Then through that essay, the students get together and then they have to send off a 500-word essay to the Johnson Space Center. We had 2 teams do that this year. So that is usually October. After that, the Johnson Space Center Food Lab lets us know who is still, it's a multi-point check. So the Johnson Space Center Food Lab then lets everyone know across the United States about what programs made it to the next round, essentially. At that point, then we partner up with some industry professionals. We do a whole bunch of research development where there's some crying sometimes and some stress because the nutrition standards for NASA are extremely strict. At that point, once we get to a recipe we are happy with, we send that off then to the Johnson Space Center, and then usually January they let us know who the top 20 is, and then this time of year they let us know who the top 10 is, who will be going down to Houston. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Congratulations. again.
Thank you.
Any other board questions or comments? So much. A motion was made by trustee Fields, supported by Vice President Lee. Yeah, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have the acceptance of another field trip for the Ypsilanti Community High School robotics team. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend moved that the Board of Education approve the overnight field trip of the Ypsilanti Community High School robotics team to Saginaw Valley State University on April 4th through the 6th, 2024 for the first robotics competition state championship.
A motion was made by trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion? supported by trustee Schindler. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, motion made by trustee Townsend, supported by trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Wishing all of our students, staff well on all of these field trips. We look forward to hearing how fun it was and bringing back the wins for YCS. So wishing you well. And I know that, would you like to say a few words? I know that you and your team are here, but yes, you're welcome.
I made a mistake. I thought we were on the agenda. I just wanted to present our collision repair Skills USA team. They have qualified to participate at the state level by winning at their regional competition the first part of March. So they'll all be traveling to Grand Rapids in April, just before. Jeff also is taking 6 students to Grand Rapids. He has a current state officer. He has 2 more potential state officers and 3 more students that are competing in different competitions. They will go to Grand Rapids for skills. They will come home the next day. They will hop on an airplane and head to Houston. So Chef's it's knocking out the park. But collision repair has done well. Auto mechanics participated in the regional competition. There were 65 students competing, so they did not qualify for state this year. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You all for being here and wishing you all well. And as always, I know you represent YCS well and do a phenomenal job. So we appreciate you being here this evening. Of course. Next, that takes us to item number 6 on our agenda, and that is a request for a closed session. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education convene in closed session under Section 8H of the Open Meetings Act, attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. A motion made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Support, Vice President Lee.
Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And so just for the benefit of the public, the board will convene in closed session. We'll return to open session. We will vote to go into another closed session, and then we'll come back and we'll go through the rest of our agenda items. And we will leave and go to another room, and we'll come back after we've had our business. Thank you so much.
turn your mic on.
You. Time is 7:43. The Board of Education is reconvening back into open session. At this time, is there a motion or request for closed session?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education convene in closed session under Section 8C of the OMA Collective Bargaining.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The board will reconvene back into closed session at 7:44. Time is 8:44. The Board of Education is back in open session. The next item on our agenda is our presentation for our bus routing software. And at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross. And following that presentation will be a course catalog presentation that will also be introduced by Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, we have Transportation Director Annette. She will be presenting on a software product that they have been considering along with our technology director. We know that we have been years ago, you purchased many products that went along with our current routing software that was not connecting. They really took some good time visiting districts, looking at what might work best, and they have a recommendation for the board. There's information in your packet, as well as information that Ms. Adams will be presenting to you today. So thank you for being here.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. I would like to have you turn a couple pages into a page that describes all of the components and everything that we would need to accurately run transportation with the routing software that has student information, field trips, mobile data, data management, fleet management, routing and planning, dispatch, and the GPS. That's all on one screen. It's all on one dashboard, easily accessible. There are unlimited seats that we would have. That would be anybody that would be allowed to use the software. Say 5 of us in our office has it. I can give permission to the secretaries at each school. They would be read only, and they could give bus information to parents. Then we have the app, My Bus Stop, and we could constantly keep in contact messaging through the app, and it connects with PowerSchool to make sure that the data is downloading correctly. The day we sign the contract, we will be assigned a project manager and a team, and will work with us to get trained on this and use it effectively. There's also the components that Tyler Tech we already use. So we have a relationship with the vendor. A lot of the components that are already in place will connect with this. Also, the unlimited seats. Every other software company that I've contacted, you had to pay for over 10. And this is unlimited. So that's awesome to be able to work with that. Mapping hasn't been updated since 2007. So that's their first point of contact, is getting the maps updated instead of drawing our own little roads in. Increased transparency, data that is accurate, group routing where I could go into a neighborhood, draw a circle, it will pull all the students and accurately route the students for that bus route. Is there any questions that I can answer for you? I know I went quick.
Yes. What is the guarantee that this will work with what we already have? Because we have signed and approved so many apps and
This is web-based, so it's off of our servers. They're guaranteeing that it will work. And we can hold them to that contract.
So I wanted to answer too. We've purchased the swipes and the cards. We have not purchased we haven't purchased a system. We use Versatrans, which is the system. This is a system like Versatrans. This is Traversa. So we've purchased additional applications to a system. We've never changed systems. So we've always hoped that Versatrans would work with us. It is the same Tyler product. That's why we were really concerned of saying, okay, why is it that we're using a Tyler product? So Solomon and Annette both went and worked. I don't know if Solomon would like to add of how how the web base is working differently with Power School. But we wanted to make sure what actual system will talk to Power School, what system. We've got these swipe cards and we have the iPads, but we can't use them. You're right. We purchased iPads, we purchased the swipe cards, but we're not able to use those add-ons.
Yeah, so when we looked at the product, one of the biggest parts of what we looked at was for compatibility and making sure that it works with a lot of the hardware and the pieces that have already been purchased. So these are things that we often don't see in behind the scenes, like the tablets that go with the drivers that look at the kids, the back end that connects to our data systems, the GPS that lives on the buses. All of these things we've seen are because we're working with Tyler Technologies. These systems will migrate right over to the new Traversa platform. And so that is the guarantee that they have put through in our meetings with them, say, no, this is going to be that quote unquote seamless transition. We know there's going to be some effort there, but they are saying, hey, this is going to translate into the new platform and plug right in and give us those features that we've been asking for so long. There is an updated app. So it's no longer the same app that we have been using with our community, but a more updated version with with some little TLC involved and be able to give parents the notifications that they've been wanting and asking for, but we haven't been able to provide. And one of the biggest things I want to highlight that Annette pointed to is the infrastructure piece. Again, something in the back end that we don't get to see very much in the front, but that infrastructure is right now, every time someone opens the app and tries to find their student, they're hitting our high school server, our local server. And so there's a limit to that ability. If something's down with our school, there's some, we aren't able to provide that support 24/7. But with this cloud infrastructure, much like a Google or an Amazon or a Microsoft, they're always going to be available. And so that's the kind of broader reach and reliability that we're looking to gain from this transition as well.
And so it doesn't have any problems working with the electric buses also too?
Same hardware. So it's gonna be same, the buses are.
Okay. All right, thank you.
When you talk about the infrastructure, I'm just thinking about, you said it's a web-based program. What safeguards are in place, for instance, if there's some type of data hack, like for instance, the MLS system that we use was down for over 2 weeks, which caused a lot of havoc. So what safeguards do we have to protect us for anything like that with this program?
So they're going to be hosted on, I believe it's AWS, so Amazon Cloud Services. They have, in our conversations with them, the data never leaves the country. They follow all of the safeguards they can to be, so that data doesn't have to traverse outside the country. They are putting in measures so that those servers are protected, even though they're publicly facing, but because they have to query them. They have told us that they are putting in safe measures to ensure that access is limited, is permission-based, the multi-factor authentication, those kind of things, as much as possible. And that's one of the good questions for us to review on our SLA with them. But the uptime is definitely one of the biggest bonuses we gain for this new infrastructure.
Did you have a chance to talk to folks in other districts that are using the Traversa platform? Can you talk a little bit to what you learned there?
They all like the fact that they had a project manager and that way it cuts down on our phones that we're getting. I mean, our phones ring off the hook all day, trying to get bus routing information. And if we give that to secretaries and it's real, so they can't change everything, but they can look up, okay, Solomon saying right here, and this is the bus, this is what time it gets picked up. So it gives us more time to work on transportation things and giving us information and why is my student still standing here when his pickup time is 8:33 and it's 8:35. And these are constant.
Well, the app will go along, if we have a reliably functioning app and we don't have those bottlenecks, that will go a long ways towards reducing that as well.
Anything else that I've gone through with other districts, they rave about the busing. So that's like, okay, great. Yes, they're getting with Washtenaw County to get the maps done. So as soon as that's done, they could start putting everything together. That's what we're using now. And we draw roads in as we go. That goes along with the contract. I can't remember the word that,
Yeah, so the system is multi-layered, so the map is not one single thing. So there is, open source data, and then our county actually has a fabulous GIS component team. They're wonderful and they do a fantastic job, and they provide that what's called a shapefile over to our vendor as a base layer. So those are two base layers that they get right away, and then we get to add our expertise, knowing the local routes, knowing the ins and outs of changes on top of that. So whereas our base map hasn't been updated in a long time, but now we're getting that update and start updating. That's just the base. Update that, right?
So have it been updated or have it?
It's being
It
updated.
hasn't, if we sign this contract, it's a part of the new contract. It wouldn't be with the old, cause that's probably the old contract. They do it upon a new contract.
Okay.
And it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, with the current system that we're using, they may not have had the capability to have those things updated versus the new contract. They have the capability to make sure that they can link into Washtenaw County and all of that. Okay.
And do we currently have all of the technology we need to be one-to-one with every driver having a device and all of the updated routing capability that will, yeah, that's,
Help with this paper route
Yeah.
that they're reading as they're driving down the road. It's gonna say, turn right on Cross Street, turn left on Huron River Drive.
yeah. Now with the mapping, is there, like, how much agility do you have to respond when, we have a road that's under construction that radically changes how the bus needs to come through the neighborhood?
If you
Okay.
turn the opposite way, it's just like the GPS in your car, it will adjust and then get you around to the next student stop.
Can I just ask, with this new process, if we go along with this, is that we really focus on having some type of town hall training, pushing it real heavily during registration, for parents to have the app? Cause that's gonna be crucial for the reduction of costs.
And sorry to tag on to that, I know the challenge we always have is we need to make sure that parents have an easy way to ensure that their information in PowerSchool that is feeding to this system is up to date, and that we give them as many opportunities and different ways to do that, and then a way to check and make sure that their information is correct, because that has been a hurdle on the family side in a lot of places.
Yeah, because we don't have the ability to change what's in colors. The teachers have to do. Or the secretaries, I'm sorry, not teachers.
Mhm.
Correct. Yeah, they use a student ID and their birthday.
Have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. So the same company, Versatron, it's the same company.
Yeah.
My question is, I remember when we approved all the technology, and they did tell us that this was gonna be able to be used, the app. And so I guess I'm wondering what might be some assurances. I guess I'm wondering, did they not know that this wasn't compatible? What happened?
They were understaffed. The technical support was less than reliable and not fully staffed with great IT. Because I asked, I said, they're gonna ask this question. And they said, the longevity of the IT department has been several years. It's become a great team, working well, and that's what I asked, when I went out in the different districts and asked in the emails how it worked, how their IT was, how the staff was to work with, and everybody, I did not get any negative feedback from any of the districts. And then it went out district-wide to the state. So,
Yeah, I just wonder why they didn't have us use this in the beginning.
because they just developed it, 7 years ago. And we were in Versatrans on a contract with Versatrans.
Seemed like it was 7 years ago, but yeah, it just seemed like it was much sooner than that, but that's neither here nor there. My question was more about the same company and how can we be assured or, and know in good faith that this technology is going to be the technology that's going to make the difference in terms of ease, in terms of use, in terms of it being user friendly, because we don't want to then have to be here, talking about another type of technology because this wasn't compatible or it needed this or that or the other. So I'm just curious about the technology pieces of it. Seeing as though how far advanced we are with technology, this seemed like a big gap in oversight in some ways.
Yeah, and unable to speak for the company themselves, but in my experience with trying to troubleshoot some of those issues we were working with, there were some natural limitations in the
Okay.
platform. And if I could just give it a brief example, if there was a change overnight and that change was brought in automatically, then there wasn't an easy way to know whether that was it would just go in and right. And so those are design flaws from the beginning. And so we're looking at a more robust system to be able to do that. And we're looking forward to working with their team during implementation to really hammer out some of these deficiencies and really highlighting those changes now that we've had some experience with them.
Thank you. And then my next question is related to training. What do you anticipate the timeline might be as we're getting closer to the end of March, going into April, school year is ending, just to make sure that we are being proactive about what the needs are for our current staff?
There's already, like for our team right now,
Yeah.
just to transportation, there's already knowledge on basic routing. So to get through that and their project management team working with us constantly, and then there's also Tyler Tech University, where if we have questions about something, when we're not with the project management team, we can go on this university and figure it out. And there's several different subjects and topics that we can go into. So I have a lot of faith in their project management team.
That we will be able to get our staff where they need to be to feel comfortable with using the new technology to roll it out when the school year begins.
Yep, and we'll get with the secretarial staff and we'll train them how to get on there and how to use that. And again, it's gonna be read only, so they won't be able to mess anything up that we're doing back at transportation.
One more question, Madam President. Is there any type of customer service platform in here so we can get rated by parents or anything so we can know where know how we're doing in this process? Like, I'm trying to, yeah, I think it would just be good for data purposes for us so we can know how we can always do better. Okay.
Yes. That way it'll get the training out of the way so we can roll out the beginning of the school year with transfer or Traversa, sorry.
Well, it's with the training,
Yeah.
for the staff.
Right.
Because most of this stuff is back end. So when you ask about for the training, it's mostly for routing. All of this is the back end. So for our drivers, they've already been trained on how to use the swipe system. They've already been trained on how to use the tablets. That's part of the appeal of why they wanted to continue with this one, because the drivers won't have to do and learn anything new. The monitors won't have to learn anything new. The back end is everyone in the office and the secretaries, how to log onto the system.
Yes. We're not messing with anything now.
Oh, no, I was just like getting ready for the next school year. Oh, mid-year would be, yeah, that would be nice. Mhm.
Does the training? Do they send someone out to train?
Yes,
Or-
the project manager
Manager.
team come out and they will train.
Okay, thank you.
So much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Next, we'll ask Dr. Lopez to come to present the 2024-25 course catalog. Each year, the board receives information about the course additions and changes to the course catalog for classes that will be presented at our high schools.
Well, good evening, President Hawkins, Board Trustees, and Dr. Secretary Ross. Today, I would like to share with the board the additional courses that are going to be added to our course catalog for the 24-25 school year. So the high school has been working diligently with their staff, and they have identified, so what you have all got a copy of the 2024-25 school year course catalog. Instead of reading the entire thing, I wanted to highlight what's been added, so that this PowerPoint kind of give you, and I also attach a 1-page or it's an 8-page document that really outlines the courses, what's been added. So that way you know exactly what has been added for this year. So one of the first courses, I took my glasses, I can't see. One of the first courses that are going to be added for this fall is film study. And this film study course, as you can see right here, is basically is designed to help students explore the art, history, and impact of cinema. And basically, as you look at the topic of that covers in that classroom, it's pretty much laid out there very clear. But this will be a 1-semester class, 5 credits. Then also we're adding Black American culture because, as you know, in the past has been elective. And so in essence, we wanted to make sure that it was a social studies elective this year to give students credit. And so one of the things that we're going to do for this year is the high school named the course Black Americans Culture, and it's a social studies course, and basically really celebrating the contributions, complexity, and and realities of how the influence of African American culture here in the United States and throughout the world. So you're going to be able to. This also would be a one semester course for 5 credits, offered as an elective, social studies elective.
Point five.
Yeah, 0.5, I'm sorry, 0.5 credit. Okay. The next course is a statistical coding mathematics course, and this course will offer student an in-depth exploration of mathematical principles, techniques essential to statistical analysis and data statistical science. So in essence, is a 5 half a credit for for the semester. But the beauty of this is the test is a mathematics to give students credit for as an elective for mathematics. Okay? And stop me with any questions you have along the way, please. The next course is the high school newspaper production. And this course, of course, is all the elements of storytelling and the news multimedia design, etc. This course is one that students have been asking for, and so it would be high school newspaper production, and it'll be an ELA elective. Okay, added to this year. Pretty much of high interest to the students. The next course is a newcomer ELD, English Language Development. And this course is basically for those L1 students who just come into the country, newcomers. And basically this is a year long. So this is New English Language Arts Development A, and there's a part B. And they're both half a credit for each semester. But basically is to have our students basic communication skills in English, for proficiency. And so these are the kids who just came into the country who hardly speak English. Okay, so you see, this is A, this is B, and then we have the newcomer literacy ELD, English Language Development, and this one is the literacy component, which is this one focuses more on the fundamental language skills for daily communication, including greetings, introduction, and getting a little more comprehension, etc., for our students. So this one again is a level A and a B for half a credit each semester. Okay, and then we go into this course called Language Arts Proficiency Development, and this is actual ELA elective. And then this is for also the English language learners, and this one is more deeper with reading comprehension and analytical skills that they have to learn for mastery. So it's with critical thinking and all those aspects of it. After this course is the biggest one of them all, and that is manufacturing level 1 and 2. This one is a 5 credit per semester course. This course offers a lot of offerings. So in essence, when you look at this, the topics that will be included in here are safety, occupational skills and work habits, inspection and measurement, occupational skills and work habits. And then as you see on this, print reading, bench work, saw, drills, power tools, saw, drills, and power tools itself. These are all components with credentialing for each one of these areas, micro-credentialing, metal working theory with manufacturing processes and devising milling, I think, benchmark manufacture processes and advanced milling and turning and grinding, manufacture processing, the CNC, the CAD and CAM, problem solving, collaboration skills, personal management skills, communication skills, and employability and career development. This year, I was able to attend one of the grant sessions with Brian Rowe from the ISD. And when I sat there through SME Prime, I fell in love with what they were able to offer. And so I right away contacted the ISD and sat with Brian to make sure that we could apply for this grant. About $364,000 that will bring all kinds of equipment to the high school pretty much free if we qualify. It was a very competitive grant. So he sat with John at the high school, and John wrote the grant along in collaboration. And as a result, we became one of the school districts that received it, along with Lincoln Consolidated, which really is a game changer for manufacturing here in our community. So I am very, very impressed with the work that's been laid out to work, and the equipment will be coming. And so I just want to make sure that you know that our team and our teachers worked hard to make that happen. Listen, and so I just want to make sure that we give due to our staff member there. That is actually, it means that we have to transition our department we were using some of the space, but we're storing our own equipments, et cetera. So we're transitioning that to the old location that we had before. And so in the process, we're preparing the building for the equipment that's coming in, et cetera, especially with welding that's coming in. So I just want to come across, because I think this is crucial. Our superintendent had a vision. The vision was to make sure that every program that we have has a certification component, multiple certification. And as you saw in this last year's graduation, we graduated every kid by colleges and universities kind of thing. So this year, every particular course in this manufacturing has a certification listed to it. So, this is a real license certification that if a kid leaves here and goes and gets employed, they're able to get employed right away. I mean, in a demand, okay? I just think this is important, and this is the beauty of this. Along the way, you see it for culinary arts, no different than you saw today in the program and everything else. Every CT program that we have is aligned to credentialing, as well as we continue to do that with almost every single thing that we're offering. And as we're looking at these programs, we're also looking at how we're going to do these for middle school and how we do it with elementary school as well. Okay. What questions might you have?
I had some questions because I actually went through the whole catalog, of course. Um, there was a question my question is in regards to the IB curriculum that we're moving into. When I'm looking at the full catalog of that, I just was kind of confused to how we identify those classes, or is it just incorporated into the curriculum?
So that's a good question. And Mark, my question is that some of these classes will not be offered right away, or my Mark? Okay, can you speak to that? Okay, of course.
Okay. And then the coding for the math. Um, is there a reason why we can't start that in middle school?
In fact, we can. So at this point in time, it's spring, a little bit more which program. Now with the Toyota grant that's coming and all of that's going to be embedded into the courses. So this summer, a team of teachers that I have to make it happen, but I'm working diligently to make that happen. But Toyota is interested in our staff working together to develop curriculum. So a team of teachers will meet to co-design that for K all the way through 12th grade. And so
Okay.
we'll be working on that this summer as part of the Toyota piece. And I know they gave us funding for 21st Century Ed and also BEABLE. So they're very committed to the STEM and throughout the whole district, STEAM, I'm sorry. Okay, I just want to.
Then my last question is, when I looked at the difference in classes offered in ACE versus the high school, so like the personal finance and the consumer math, it would seem like those would have the same description, but like, for instance, consumer math at ACE doesn't mention credit versus personal finance at high school does. And so I just think those should kind of be uniformed.
And it should be. I'll go back and look at those. Okay. And talk to both, because but basically we bring the principals together and they co-design that, but it should be pretty much required.
Thank you.
that takes us to item number 11, public comments. And before we invite members of the public to address the board up, I'd like to read the public comment protocol, which reads as follows. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. Remarks shall be made in a respectful and professional manner. First up, we have, tell me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Is it Ari?
Thank you so much, and thank you all for your time. My name's Ari Stein. I live in the Ann Arbor School District, but I go to the consortium Y-High, which is just about a block from here. And I'm here to talk about our school, which is facing a bit of a budget crunch, as I know most districts are at this point. The reality of the situation is most of our kids come from the Ypsilanti School District, so does most of our funding. Unfortunately, we only get about 95% of the state funding per head, with the other 5% being a kickback to IPSI. Now, we know that IPSI does provide transportation for our students, and that's a major expense, and so we can understand that, but unfortunately, the other districts in the consortium are also paying that same 95% without providing transportation, without providing those services to our students. I understand that's not an issue for this school board, but what me and the others here are generally here to talk about is our rent. We rent the building that we are in from the Ypsilanti School District. Rent is high. We were just able to keep it from rising anymore, but with the crunch that we're on, we're laying off teachers, we're changing our schedule, and this is a school that really has a lot of hardworking kids. It's got a lot of very academically focused kids, and what we're seeing is that clubs are getting cut, advisors' pay is getting cut. I'm on the Model UN team, and we're at a point where it's very difficult for us to get to out-of-state conferences or even to some in-state conferences because the advisors just cannot get paid for that time outside of school. And what we're here to do is ask you to do anything you can to talk to your superintendent, to go before the JSC, and to do whatever you can as a board to help us reduce some of those expenses so that we can maintain sort of the standard of excellence that Y-High is known for and that Y-High really appreciates and gives to its students. Thank you.
Is it Hasini?
Hello, my name is Hassini. I live in IPSI, but my school district is APS. 2 years ago, I chose Y-High as my high school, and I can say that was definitely the right choice for me. I love the sense of community that we have with the teachers, the admin, the students. It's unlike any other school I've seen. Beyond that, the bonds that we form with our teachers, I think, shows a lot in our test scores and our achievements, and it also shows in just the school that we have and all the events that we hold, even though we are such a small school. And even though they are some of the most supportive and encouraging people that I know, it's really sad and fortunate to know that they are extremely undercompensated for all of the work that they do due to the budget cuts that we're already experiencing. As already said, our students are extremely driven and on track for college and things like that, myself included. So students like us that are here today shouldn't have to be here fighting for our school. So yeah, we're depending on leaders like you to help us keep our school. Thank you.
Next, we have Sid.
Yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for being here and for allowing us this time. I'm a Y-High student, senior, and I chose Y-High 4 years ago. I honestly could not imagine being at another school. It has given me so many more opportunities than I could have even dreamed of. Not only is the IB a wonderful program in and of itself, but Y-High teachers and staff create such a good platform for students to learn and grow and teach. And along with that, we have a pretty high rent price, which we are hoping to be able to get lowered, and which would allow for the allocation of more of the funding that is currently going to rent to go towards classes and extracurricular activities such as our drama program, which I am the president of our drama club. We are currently in an attempt to build more parent and PTO involvement to get that funding that is necessary. However, even with that, we are extremely underfunded in honestly all of the art departments, but I can specifically speak to theater, as I said, we currently had to stop our musical that was supposed to happen this year simply because of the lack of funding to it. And if we were able to allow a decrease in rent, that funding could be able to go to programs such as that and allow for not only good programs like that that foster a greater sense of community that we are so strongly building at Y High, but that also just create a deeper joy for going to school. Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have Phil.
Hello, good evening. I am Sophie Bordeaux. I live in the Ypsilanti School District and I'm a student at Y High. I have been going to Y High or Weimar High for 5 years now. I came to Weimar because I heard of their, adaptive program and how they adjust their education and their goals for each student. That just really worked with me. It adapts for each student's needs and the necessities, as well offers like counseling and just like a community, and it builds a good relationship with students and staff, and as well a good relationship with school and school work, helping prevent burnout, helping, it just provides a lot of support. But a big issue that we're facing is like the rent price, because I am the leader of the art club as well. I've been doing art, my whole life. I've been going to a bunch of art classes. But art supplies are very expensive, and since Y High is a very academic based school, we are facing it's mostly focused on the sciences, on the maths, on literature and history. And so the first things that are getting cut or facing this deficit are the art programs, because they can survive longer without a refill of supplies, like the most recent history books, textbooks, or for things like biology or chemistry, the newest science supplies. But what we're facing with that is a lot of students don't have the supplies necessary to create and to explore new medias. And especially, it's not just the classes, but also clubs that are facing this cut, because we just don't have the resources because of the rent. We just like having rent reduced would allow the allocation of more resources across the board and allow for more creativity for students, creating this bond, with a positive bond between school and student, because art is this relaxation, it's this form of creativity and its self-expression. This cut is negatively affecting students. It's negatively affecting the way they can create, the amount they can create. It is an institutional problem. The art class has tried to do an art gallery before and collect donations, but it only collected about $300, which wasn't a significant amount when only put towards the visual art class. It wasn't even significant enough just for a singular class of like seniors.
Is it Viv? The
I mean, we love being in Ipsy. I'm a Y High student too. We love being in Ipsy. I've met so many people I would not have met if I'd gone to Ann Arbor, if I'd gone to community, which was, probably where I was going to go. And I just want to be like super clear that there is no sense in which this is like Ipsy's fault. Ipsy is just, like our biggest partner. More than half of Y High students are Ipsy kids. And every dollar we pay towards rent is a dollar we cannot pay, to providing resources for our kids. We've done, I think, kind of a lot to try to cut the deficit. Our principal took a pay cut. We've laid off a bunch of people. We know this pain is kind of, widespread. It's not just Y High that is facing, these problems, but we figured that, you know, as people who love our school, as people who really enjoy going to Y High, that we kind of had a duty to come out here and ask, because rent is our biggest like single expense after salary, and it's really kind of something that you as a school board of IPSI have control over in a way that everything else is so dispersed. You know what I mean? Like it's not that rent is the solution, but it's part of the solution, and it's something that you as people have kind of the power to change in a way that the JSC, which is kind of answerable to a bunch of different school boards, it's much harder to get the JSC to agree on anything. So I don't. We love being an IPSI. We love, you know, our building, and especially, you know, just considering the fact that most Y High kids, most Wyma High kids are IPSI kids. I personally think that using our money on rent is kind of a waste of our money. Like it's, you essentially send us money, you know, for to educate your students, and then we send that money right back to you without actually being able to educate the students. Like we do our own maintenance, we do our own utilities. I just think it's kind of a use of money that's like not optimal. You know, like you may as well just kind of keep the money. We do our, like it's not like we're paying for maintenance. We're paying you guys for maintenance, or we're paying you guys for utilities. We do our own maintenance, we do our own utilities. We're paying you for the building, but we're paying the upkeep. And just kind of every dollar that we're paying in rent is a dollar that IPSI students at Y High aren't receiving. And I think it's a mistake. And I hope that, you know, you all agree with me and we'll do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that you all have school tomorrow and that you hung with us all this time. We got through many items on our agenda, so thank you for being here. Next, we have Monica Ross Williams.
Well, how is the board doing? Hopefully fine. I'm here actually on behalf of my sister-in-law. She couldn't come tonight. She normally doesn't come to meetings of this nature. She lives in Apple Ridge and has lived there pretty much all of her life. And also was a graduate of the Willow Run School District. So the reason that I'm here is because we had a conversation recently in regards to a mailer that she received about the Willow Run school debt and how much of that debt is not, or at least the 18 mills that were on the flyer. I've since learned it's 13 mills that are still due at this point, and along with the other additional, I believe it would be 5 or 6 mills that were there. But I want to talk about the 13 particularly. She is very limited in income and inherited the house from my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, who are now deceased. So with the limited income and trying to keep that house and having to keep that house in the family, and it's really important to her, it is hard to do so with the meals that are on her, okay, and a very limited income. If I have it correct, the state allotted $42.2 million. Some of that money was going towards operational costs for Ypsilanti community schools, and hopefully some of the money went towards debt relief. I can honestly say, and I'm speaking on behalf of her, she's asking for the relief. You know, she, you know, is paying the taxes, doing what she can, but it is a struggle for her to be able to keep her house with the amount of debt that is on the house. And I hope in the light of being able to have this great gift for YCS district, that they will also consider the homeowners, and not just Apple Ridge, but it's other homeowners that are on that side of our township and also our city that literally could use this debt relief, especially in considering the fact that inflation is high, and costs are continuing to increase in these, and people like my sister-in-law are literally trying to make sure that they can stay in that house and keep their houses. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Brenda Stumbo.
My name is Brenda Stumbo and Ypsilanti Township Supervisor, and I have been here before. I just want to know, when are you making the decision? And I know you don't give us answers at the meeting, but that's my question. When are you making the decision? And is it at a public meeting that you make the decision on the $42 million relief that was given? And my understanding was to pay off debt for YCS, Willow Run Schools, and free up about $2 million in your general fund that will help with the paying the teachers and the staff a better wage and be more competitive. So I pulled some information today, and I don't know, I'm trying to be respectful and not get angry, but our residents are getting very angry. In 2022, Ypsi schools had a debt of 7 mils. In 2022, Willow Run had a debt of 13 mils of school debt. In 2023, Ypsi schools debt went down to 4.65. Willow Run schools in 2023 was still at 13 mils. I don't understand how you levy taxes in the school district. I'll have to be honest. I only know about local government. But how you pick and choose when you pay off different debts. I'm willing to discuss it and understand it because I can never get an answer. I just want to understand why the discrepancy between the Willow Run School District and the YCS School District. If you're going to pay off debt in one and one, why can't you pay off debt in the other before you get the 42 million? My understanding is you don't have the 42 million yet. Is that correct? That's my understanding. So you haven't made that decision. And this woman's, I was talking to her by text, and she sent me a text, and she said, Brenda, I'm a proud Willow Run resident. It's just another false promise on the debt relief. There's always seems to be a snag in the tapestry regarding Willow Run since the merger. Willow Run's history has been totally eradicated. We, the residents and former students, are mud to them. Now, these are not my words. These are words how people are feeling. It's just such our community is so fragile right now. And we need help. And this is a way to help, is to get debt relief and get it as soon as you can. And I'm willing to sit down and just learn about school debt at any time or anywhere. I don't know if you're going to have a public meeting to explain it. Or I can read it, even if there's a place for me to go and read about how the school debt is paid off. And I've been trying to do a lot of research myself, but because I have no knowledge, it's really hard for me to get the information that I need to understand it. So I'm here again. I've been here several times advocating to pay off the debt and to have equity when it comes to Willow Run School. And great things are happening. Every time I come here, I learn something new about great things that are occurring. And I'm proud of that and happy for that. But we really need financial relief. Our residents are hurting, our community is hurting, and it couldn't happen sooner or soon enough in order to really lift people up so everyone can thrive. So thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak again.
Thank you. And thank you for all the public comments this evening. And normally, I mean, we do this on very rare occasions where we respond to any of our public comments, but I know that it's important for us to always, as a district, be transparent, which we have been, and to be equitable and make sure we center our students first in every decision that we make. So if Dr. Zachary Ross, you would like to say anything, to speak to any of this?
Yeah, So first, I just want to thank our White High students for coming. We know that we have, and I thank the board for holding the rent for the last 2 years and not increasing the rent. We know that the rent is set by the millage rates, and it's the standard for any room that is rented through WEAC across all districts. If you rent in Milan and Manchester, here, it's the standard. And this board has not increased the rent for White High or any WEAC programs for 2 years. And so I appreciate the fact that they have limited information and that there are cuts in the WEAC program, but it is not due to the rent and for that building. So we appreciate their coming, and we'll make sure that they get correct information because we want our students to have accurate information. So I'll make sure board that information, being on the budget committee of the JSC. So I know intimately the budget for WEAC. So secondly, we invited quite a few, including you, Ms. Stumbo, to the celebration. And we talked along with standing next to Senator Irwin and Jason Morgan and Jimmy Wilson, Representative Wilson, about the process and the fact that we have not gotten the funds. That is not the board's decision on where those monies come. We shared with everyone the law. The law says that the Treasury will pay the $5.5 million, that the Treasury will pay the $19.3 million. It says that we will, in order to get those monies, have to do A through H. Well, we have to, this board has to, which they adopted a resolution that is public, right? Is on our board minutes, that we'll have to do teacher recruitment, student recruitment. We'll have to do an assessment of our buildings. We'll have to do board training. It says specifically in the law what the board has to do within 12 months of getting the funds. But paying off our operational debt and paying Willow Run is not an option. So that's a misnomer. And I really hope that people are not sharing that. The law is clear. This is not the board's decision. If we take the money, period, we had to apply. We had to say in the application that we would follow A through H. And so this is not that the board will haphazardly take people's who's struggling to pay their mortgages and decide not to pay the $19.3 million for Willow Run. It's clear in the law what it said. And so, no, we don't have a choice if we're going to pay the $5.5 million. No, we don't have a choice if we're going to pay the $19.3 million. No, we can't use it to pay off all of the rest of the debt either. We have to do recruitment for students, recruitment for staff, do a building assessment. We have to increase graduation rate, have a plan in partnership with the ISD to increase graduation rates. We have to do this board has to do training, even though they weren't the ones in place. Training 3 times per year on physical management, financial management. All of these requirements is in the law. We didn't make it up. It was in the law when they passed it before December. It was in the law when she signed the bill in December, and it's still in the law now. Any taxpayer can look it up. It's right there. It's in the minutes, but it's on the state's website. It's in our website, but it's on Treasury. It says that when they passed the law, PA 321, in that PA 321, it says clearly what we have to do in order to get that money. It says very clearly. So we're not making it up. Senator Irwin can't make it up. Representative Wilson can't make it up. This board can't make it up. So any taxpayer can look. So if they're very odd, in desperation, please don't let them be. Please let them look at the truth and read it for themselves. The board cannot make a decision on those things. A through H. So they can read, it's really clear in the law what it says. And it's very specific on what they could do within those amounts. So I encourage everyone to please read for themselves. So they can't take my words. I'm not going to go try to quote the law. But read A through H.
Thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross. Next, that takes us to item number 12, which is our consent agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee moves that the Board of Education approve the February 26, 2024 regular board meeting minutes, 2 February 26, 2024 special board meeting minutes, and 3 personnel matters as per the presented list dated 3/11/24, new hires or resignations.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to our first action item under student affairs. It's the approval of the YCS 2024-2025 K through 12 course catalog. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the Ypsilanti Community Schools Code of Conduct Handbook. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend move that the Board of Education accepts as presented the YCS Code of Conduct Handbook.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by Trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries. That takes us to item number 14, action item under human resources, the approval of the accounting specialist contract. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee move that the Board of Education approve the accounting specialist contract of Salone Sapp with the commencement date of April 1, 2024.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion? Supported by Trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, motion made by Vice President Lee, supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. I don't think they are here this evening, but congratulations. Are in order. Yes. Next, that takes us to action item number 15 under business and finance, which is the acceptance of our FEB Tutor High Impact online tutoring proposal. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education accepts the attached quote for the FEV Tutor High Impact Online Tutoring quote for the amount of $100,000.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support. Trustee Townsend.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the 180 program for Holmes Elementary School. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee move that the Board of Education accept the attached quotes for the 180 program for Holmes Elementary School proposals for the amount of $129,825.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the Traversa software proposal. Is there a motion at this time?
Oh, yeah, it's not in there.
Like 49 for 48. $49 or 48.
$49,448.
It's on page 3.
$9,448. The motion was made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Townsend.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the E-rate category 1 fiber construction and maintenance. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education approve as presented the choice of FiberLink as the recommended vendor for the work of fiber construction and fiber maintenance for Ypsilanti Community Schools.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, motion made by trustee Schindler, supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to E, the acceptance of the E-rate category 1 core switches. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education award as presented the selection of Sentinel Technologies for procuring core switches for Ypsilanti Community Schools.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to F, the acceptance of the E-rate category 2 WRMS network infrastructure. Is there a motion at this time? Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee Fields. So a motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Townsend.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the E-rate category 2 structure cabling. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education award as presented the selection of Nerd Express for procuring structured cabling for Ypsilanti Community Schools.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support, Vice President Lee.
Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to our second public comment portion for this evening. Ms. Haynes, have any cards come in? Thank you. Next, that takes us to item number 17, which is our Board of Education Subcommittee report. Are there any subcommittee reports at this time? Seeing none. Any board superintendent comments?
I have one. I'd just like to thank Superintendent Dr. Zachary Ross, her staff, her cabinet. You guys work so hard, and I don't know if you get appreciated or not, But I just want to let you know that the board appreciates you because you work hard. And we thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate Trustee Townsend on being elected as the president of WASB. And to congratulate her on spearheading a really awesome professional development session on special education, IEPs and 504 plans. It was excellent, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. I failed to, under the subcommittees, I went blank, I'm sorry. Oh my God, it's almost 10 o'clock. Anyway, the foundation, YCS Foundation. The scholarship information, a flyer is going to drop. The information is out there. The deadline for applications is April 8th. So tonight I will be getting that stuff posted, but I will have Geraldine send that stuff immediately over to the district. We're trying to move them forward in technology. And then there's also a fundraiser that I will be emailing you out. It's led by a local realtor, Justine Anthony. The goal is $100,000. And so this event will be in October. They have the flyers out, everything. So we will make sure that the board has the information to push it out there. Please follow the foundation on Facebook. So I will make sure that the superintendent has all of that information. But it's good from the Realtors Breakfast that we're really trying to get some traction on getting some additional collaboration and support from the community. So the foundation is moving forward. Okay. And other things, I want to just thank again the district and trustees and Dr. Lopez, Dr. Elena Zachary Ross for supporting the Family Initiative program. We had over 200 people register. Dr. Lopez made it shine. He did good. I think we got a couple of people that's trying to move over to this YCS. We had the president of WCC. They funded the entire event at no cost to us. Rose Blanca and the Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist spoke. And then we had Senator Jeff Irwin and Representative Jimmy Wilson all will speak. And then the most amazing part about it, Superintendent Naomi Norman made a pledge for us to work on the current second graders, that cohort of second graders being reading at level by 5th grade proficiently. So I believe Dr. Zachary Ross will talk more about that most likely. So we are very serious about changing literacy in Washtenaw County. Thank you again for all of you all's support for the WASB. I would also like to acknowledge that the rest of the executive board, Ryan Novus is the vice president from Manchester, Marianne Tramatine from the WISD is the secretary and treasurer, and then Michael McVeigh from Saline is the legislative representative, and then the past president be, of course, Thomas Rollins from Lincoln. So we're excited. We're going to be pushing more professional development for our members. I will make sure stuff is hybrid if I can, just so that, and then we're also going to talk about getting some type of centralized, location for materials so we can go back. So that's a conversation coming down the line. 3, you should all have, the next meetings, of course, we will have the annual WISD budget meeting in April. It will be via Zoom. So be on the lookout for that. We were trying to have also additional professional development training. And so the annual meeting is on April 18th from 6 to 7. And then the next legislative breakfast is on May 20th at 7:30 a.m. At the ISD. Last, the annual community Easter egg hunt. You all have flyers. The information is out there. We will have over 40 vendors I got my petting zoo. Know how to hustle. So again, letters are going out to, public officials this week, and it is totally free. Thank you, thank you, thank you to Dr. Zachary Ross for just continuing this legacy. It's been going on for 27+ years. YCS is always in Ypsilanti Public Schools, Willow Run Community Schools have always been at the forefront of supporting this event, and so we love to keep this tradition going. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. YCS will have a booth. We hiring. We won't. Come on out. So I believe we're gonna be doing all of that. So thank you again for all of your support and all of the work that the cabinet does. Thank you for setting the record straight, and we look forward to moving forward. Thank you.
I would echo what Vice President Lee said. We do not say it often enough. We do deeply appreciate all of the hard work. You, Dr. Zachary Ross, all members of your cabinet, everyone in this district, Ms. Haynes, who keeps us all together. And even feeds us. You know, occasionally, we appreciate that. I would just echo that, you know, we don't often take stock of, and I know you're a lot, but it is a hard job, and we recognize and we value everyone who's in this district. And we appreciate all the work that we accomplish together. So I just want to, very timely. The only other thing that I would mention is that we had a really beautiful debt relief celebration. And we were appreciative for everyone who came out. And I especially wanted to just congratulate the students who and sang in their on stage. It was a great event. The other thing that I just want to mention is that I don't think we'll have a board meeting at this time. There's a candidate.
I shouldn't I know? Which one?
April 5th.
It's April 4th, isn't it? It's April 4th from, I think it starts at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 is the sheriff's candidate forum with all of the Divine Nine. That will be at the Learning Resource Center. The moderator is Chris Campbell, and they serving food, so you won't be hungry. But just make sure you come on out. All three candidates for the sheriff role will be out, and they'll be discussed. It's, I think, of a Thursday. Yeah. I'll drop it. Yep, I'll make sure y'all have the information.
And thank you for serving. Your higher education journey. Dr. Zachary Ross, I believe that's all.
Before you go, do they have someone to help them with the scholarship? To fill out the scholarship?
The scholarship is a Google form, so it's the schools should have it already, but we were just really concerned about the promotion of it, because that's where we were lacking. But if they do have need support, I will make sure if it has the name of the scholarship chair on there, but they can always reach out to myself, and I'll just make sure that they have that information as well. But I will get with the president, which is Amanda Smith, just to see, you know, how we can provide additional support for students if they have questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And so you'll be advertising will be happening now. And do you have a sense of the due date?
The due date is April 8th. Right, because they wanted to have it out in time for the celebration that they have for the seniors. So, yeah, next year gonna be better, but we wanted to make sure still there was opportunity for some money to be given out. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, thank you, Vice President Lee and everyone, because we know our And our teachers, our support staff, everyone has just worked tirelessly this year. I'm just so glad they give after Friday, they're going to get spring break because they have been pushing and working for us. So I just appreciate it. And I see Miss Tillerson is just still here with us, and she's just always, it's just been a team effort. And just as we remember that, let's remember to nominate. We sent it out today for the Teacher of the Year, La Fontaine. We've been very fortunate. We sent that reminder out today. Please take the time to nominate someone for the La Fontaine Teacher of the Year. Also, for every category, Grizzly Awards, you got to get that nomination in. I think April 4th is a busy day. I think that's that deadline. We have the modern classrooms visit during the day, and at night we're going to take over Aubrey's. So we're going to take the whole district out. So I don't know where it's going to be on that night, but because we invited all the staff out. Aubrey's, they're going to pay, modern classroom is paying for all of our staff to hang out there. So boy, that's going to be a busy night, April 4th. So we're inviting all the staff out to Aubrey. So YCS, we'll see you at Aubrey's as well. So we want to thank those who've been using our new chatbot, the Grizzly. We know he's had a few things that he said incorrectly, but he found it was actually it was in real places. So he found the incorrect stuff that was in places. But our chatbot, the Grizzly, he's really been helping us. He's our 24/7 chat bot. He learns as he gets asked questions. So please respond to him on text. He gives instant responses. The best part about him is he's multilingual. So we know we have so many different languages. Our families will have to wait for our multilingual staff to translate, to get back. Now they write and they get answers right away. That was one of the main reasons why we wanted to use him or her, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to say it's a him. It's a thing. But use the bot because we service so many families. Even if our students can speak English well, their families might not be able to. This has broken a barrier that we've been trying to break forever. So I'm so proud of this district to be able to use this bot because we can now talk to parents, answer their questions, be able to be in communication with parents and families and even students that we've never been able to talk to before. Instant is flexible access. We can just text back and forth like we do and like they are used to doing. So we want to thank them. We also want to thank Toyota because we know, and I'm doing this for two reasons. One, is districts all across the whole area talking about their closing school early, changing the schedule, all of that. Just don't look into the sky. Something. We looked at every kind of article and everything. Toyota has brought all our students and staff, and now even you have such glasses. Yes, board. I have been on conversations. I have been in superintendent's meetings. For the most part, people are not changing their end of the school day, their dismissal for the solar eclipse. We will be okay. They all have glasses. They're for a long period of time. They'll be all right. So Toyota has gotten us our glasses there. Dr. Lopez has gotten units and lesson plans. We are going to pre-warn them. We are going to give them our glasses. And no, we are not changing the bell time or anything. So parents, we're giving them glasses and we're going to keep the schedule the way it is. Please join us in Toyota and Solar Eclipse on April 8th. We have given lesson plans and taught the safe way to experience this wonderful occasion of the solar eclipse. That's it.
The time is 10:09 as board meeting